Hi guys, we're the Smacktalking Amigos. This is James and
Kian,
and we're going to talk about wrestling this week. So perhaps we'll start off with Raw this weekend. This is our first show.
Yep.
Firstly, where can they find us? At Smacktalking Amigos on Twitter, right?
At Smacktalking Amigos on Twitter. I will have a Facebook page put up, and I will have a YouTube channel at Smacktalking Amigos.
Perfect. Excellent.
So they can find us then.
So Raw this week. Let's have a quick chat about it. Points to bring up.
I've got a few points to bring up about the opening segment. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I like the fact that Stephanie McMahon has been put in this untenable position.
Well, that's after last week, where of course we saw Kevin Owens got crowned as the new Universal Champion. Firstly, what do you think about this Universal Championship? It's not quite the World Championship, but I mean, they had to do something different.
They did. I think it's good because I think they wanted to interact with the WWE universe, what it does, but it has a little less prestige than the World Heavyweight Championship
at the moment. Although, if you've got to talk about shows, then Raw is the #1 show still. I mean, it's still getting the most. It's still getting the most sort of viewership, the bigger viewership, as they brought up this week. So this week we saw Kevin Owens come out, the longest reigning,
the longest
Universal Champion, which was
Universal
hilarious.
Champion. Yeah, but it's not hard to beat just half a day of.
No, of course.
And I think it was good. I think you could have gone with the safe option and given it to Seth. You could have gone with the unpopular option and given it to Roman, or you could have gone with the real outsider and given it to Big Cass and see how he does
with that. And I thought I thought actually they all came across as pretty strong last week. And then at the end of last week, of course, we saw Roman Reigns Triple H pedigree Roman Reigns. Then coming to the ring, he looks like he's going to pedigree the new world champion, Kevin Owens, and instead he pedigrees Seth Rollins.
Yeah, it was the ultimate backstab.
Which is Triple H's career.
Yeah, which is his career all over. He's better as a heel than a face, and I just can't wait for the match that they have at WrestleMania.
Well, you would have thought it's definitely going to be Seth Rollins, Triple H at WrestleMania. It's been a match they've been leading up for ages. And to see that at WrestleMania, the biggest event of it all, would be the place that you would want to see it. So we had Kevin Owens coming out, basically came up to a massive face pop.
Yeah.
You deserve it.
What you don't normally get through heels, and Kevin Owens and possibly Chris Jericho are the only two heels who can do that.
Correct. And came out to his face pop, but immediately turned the crowd around.
Yes. And that's the sign of a great heel, because
I think so as well.
You want to be hated by the crowd. If you are a heel, your main objective that night is to go out and make the crowd boo you out the building, hate you. If you're a face, you want them to cheer you out the building. Yeah. And that's where Roman Reigns is in limbo, because he kind of gets half and half. And
now he's sort of getting over, and we saw it this week again, a bit more with the fans. You say every week Roman Reigns is getting more over because he's not a world champion at the moment, right?
Yeah, I think the whole 6 months when Seth Rollins got injured, leading up to WrestleMania, they could have handled that a lot differently. Yeah. I don't think they needed to give Roman Reigns 3 championship reigns. I think if he got screwed over at Survivor Series and won it at WrestleMania from Triple H or Sheamus or whoever it was, then he would have got more over. But luckily, they've come to their senses and they are making him lose.
Which is what we've been asking for, and what the WWE universe has been asking for a little while. So we had this opening segment. It led us, and we saw 2 excellent matches in the night. We saw Seth Rollins, Y2J.
Yeah.
Who Y2J for me is doing the best work of his career to date at the moment.
You always peak around 36, 37, 38. John Cena is showing that on SmackDown. AJ Styles is showing that, and I'm sure Randy Orton will show that when he gets more to a full-time basis. And
not just his wrestling, but how he's changed his character again. We had his traditional promos where using ever and Y2J and all of those things, and now his smallest things where he has it.
Yeah.
That it. Yeah. Straight in the face of Todd or Andrew or whatever he decides to call the backstage announcer. That sort of thing, and drink it in, man. drink it in. It's a new face of Y2J, and that's coincided with him really improving his wrestling.
Yeah.
He's really seems to have got a bit fitter. He's been wrestling now back in the WWE ring for the longest space of time that he had for a while.
Yeah.
And I think his match against Rollins was great.
Yeah, it was. It was going to be great. They're two high flyers. Rollins has the all-round package, the charisma, the athleticism, the mic skills, everything. So does Chris Jericho.
And what did you think of the ending to that match? So we saw a Lion Salt, then we saw Jericho go for the code breaker, got turned into the ropes, got reversed and straight into a pedigree. I mean, that was an amazing segment of moves.
That was an amazing sequence of moves. And I want to bring up the pedigree because there was some emphasis on the pedigree by Rollins. He didn't just hit it, he looked angry as he was hitting it, like screw you.
Triple H. Yeah.
And that's what you want. Who can land it better? That's going to be a great match to see. And unfortunately, we have to wait 8 months
to see it.
But I can't wait to see it.
No, neither can I.
And I will be one fan who will mark out when he goes ahead.
Well, we saw another match this week that I wanted to talk to you about on Raw. Cass and Enzo versus the Shining Stars.
Yep.
We're huge fans of Cass and Enzo.
Yeah.
They got over in the middle of the ring, pretending that they were having a baby in the middle of the ring. They still got over with the fans.
Yeah.
The difference between Cass and Enzo and for me the New Day now is that their shtick isn't getting old. Cass and Enzo.
No. It's a very strange one with Cass and Enzo because one week they'll win, the next week they'll lose. I don't think WWE know what to do with them right now.
Because I don't think they need a title. They don't need a title push right now.
No, because they are so over with the fans.
Yeah.
Tag teams who aren't over with the fans, like Gallows and Anderson, or maybe it's Shining Stars, they need a tag team title run. But Enzo and Cass is a strange one because I think you need to give them a bit of momentum. But I don't think they need a title push.
They never won the NXT titles either.
No,
before they came up. So the first title they win. I mean, is there a possibility that we won't ever see them win the tag titles and see them win singles titles?
Possibly, or I'd like Enzo to branch out as Big Cass's manager, because I think he'd be an excellent manager. He's got the mic skills. Big Cass showed in the Fatal 4-Way match last week that he's got it.
Well, I'm showing my age here a bit, but when Diamond Dallas Page was in WCW, he originally started as a manager.
Yeah.
That's where he was.
Yeah.
And then he became this wrestler.
Yeah.
I could see Enzo branching out to be a huge wrestler. I mean, in terms of his mic skills, his in-ring ability can be better.
Yeah.
It's not quite what Big Cass is, but there's no one with the size and skill set of Big Cass running around at the moment.
No.
Even Braun Strowman, who we saw, who I think's improved. I think the fact that he's wrestling jobbers is fantastic.
Yeah, finally we saw him not wrestling a local athlete.
Yeah, in Sin Cara.
Sin Cara, I thought it was Kalisto, but that was good. I think they are progressing him, and I think he can be a top.
So where does he go? So now he's wrestled 4 or 5 local talents.
Yeah.
And I don't mind seeing local talents go over. It's always good to see.
Yeah.
So he's wrestled the local talents. He's now wrestled Sin Cara. What's the next sort of level does he go to?
I would say you've got 3 kinds of wrestlers. You've got the low card, mid card US title, and you've got the high card Universal title. I'd like him to face someone like Darren Young.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
I'd like the match between him and Rusev.
That would be a huge match against 2 giants.
Yeah.
However you look at Rusev, he's just a solid wrestler.
Yeah.
And I think, look at Rusev's work the past few months.
Yeah.
He's a deserving US champion.
Yeah, he's a deserving US champion. I'm glad that WWE didn't go ahead and
give it to Reigns
at SummerSlam.
I agree.
And Rusev, I can see him as a Universal Champion one day.
I agree. So, I know you wanted to say something about the returning Bo Dallas.
Yes, I think the returning Bo Dallas is good, and he's getting a kind of a push of WWE.
More intense this week as well, I thought.
Yeah.
And we've seen him in the longest time.
Yeah, I think when he first came in 2-3 years ago, he looked decent, but then Obviously, WWE did their magic and started spiraling him out of control. But
he's come out of the social outcast pretty well. If you think Adam Rose has been released.
yeah,
Michael McGillicuddy is nowhere. I don't know where he is, and he's a solid wrestler. I don't know why he hasn't. I mean, if you think McGillicuddy has pinned CM Punk and John Cena.
yes,
When he's been managed by Heyman.
Yeah.
Heath Slater's obviously doing fantastic on SmackDown. We'll talk about that in a second. But if Bo Dallas can also come out and do well, that's good.
I won't. No disrespect to him or any wrestler, because I know the schedule is hard, but I can't really see Bo Dallas as a top end superstar.
No.
I see him as a mid card at best. Maybe form a tag team with someone.
I would like to see him and Bray.
Yeah. Him and Bray.
We don't think people
exactly.
People forget their brothers, and you could see Bo being a creepy Wyatt.
Yeah.
Going into a Wyatt like that.
Yeah.
Rather than Bray becoming this happy-go-lucky face, because I can't see that happening.
No.
So before we go to the main event on Raw, the other thing is the women's division.
Yeah.
And it was good to see Bayley get the win against Charlotte. We were talking last week about Bayley coming up. Would she be able to get a win over Charlotte? Would they leave that? Have they pulled that too early?
Yes, because we also saw Sasha Banks come out and announce that at Clash of the Champions she will be facing Charlotte. But then Bayley's, and every fan will think Bayley's got a reason to be in that match, triple threat.
Yeah.
I think they pulled it too early. I think they should have let Bayley eat a few losses against Charlotte and Sasha. But who knows? We've been wrong about these things before. Hopefully we're wrong again.
I want to see Bayley struggle to become the superstar we know she is, because I think she'll get over more doing it that way. And as we said, the SmackDown division is a lot stronger than the Raw division, so they need to have some storyline. Although it was nice to see Alicia Fox and Nia Jax together. Nia Jax is an interesting one.
Yeah.
Has a slightly different path than Braun Strowman's having even though they've had the same idea of them beating jobbers, they're different, and you can see they are.
Yeah, Nia Jax is amazing talent. We
Yeah,
saw it in NXT. She will destruct anyone. She just needs the right storyline, like so many wrestlers do on the roster.
And I think she's getting it. And a match against Alicia Fox will be interesting.
Yeah.
I think it'll be very interesting. Of course, the other thing was Cesaro went down, and we've got to move on to SmackDown in a minute. Cesaro went down 3-0 Sheamus.
Yeah.
Does he start his comeback this week on the house show that he's fighting at against Sheamus? He's fighting in a house show against Sheamus coming up in England, I believe, actually.
Yes, they are coming over to England on Thursday, I think.
Okay.
Yes, he does. I am going to go with the bold prediction and say he will win this 4-3.
Okay, is that too obvious?
Yes, but
it has been nice to see it in the way he loses. Sheamus, and Sheamus has looked impressive.
Yeah, he's an impressive wrestler. Sheamus I just don't like his gimmick.
No, he puts on 4-star matches, and he has a 3-star gimmick.
Yeah.
Where he could put on 5-star matches and have a 4-star gimmick.
Yeah.
He just needs to step up a bit. But I think he's a solid worker, very solid worker. So I know you wanted to talk about the main event and what happened in the main event. It wasn't quite as shocking as last week when Triple H came out, but still a good main event.
Yes, Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn will always be classic matches. Look at the feud at Payback and Battleground, I think it was. There will always be great matches between them, and I would love to see a feud for the Universal title between them in the future.
You see, Zayn for me is a superstar.
Yeah.
He's an absolute superstar, and he's a Daniel Bryan level superstar.
Yeah.
People can really get behind him. I don't want him to get lost in the shuffle.
No.
But they've been showcased every week on Raw since the last bit.
When Roman Reigns came out, I think WWE are still trying to push him, but not to the extent where fans got bored of him. It will be interesting to see, because obviously the Philadelphia crowd don't like him, or the Baltimore crowd, and it's in Baltimore next week, to see if he wins or not. I'd like to see Kevin get the win, because
Well, it would make it more interesting. You don't want it to be a triple threat.
No, and I like the feud at the moment between Rollins and Owens brewing up. I feel, I mentioned to you a couple of weeks ago that it seems like if you cast your mind back to Daniel Bryan in 2013, got screwed over by Triple H, fought always Ray, as the same as Rollins, and it culminated at WrestleMania, the Daniel Bryan moment.
For me, and I know you're a fan of Reigns, and I am a fan of him wrestling, but for me, I just can't get behind him. And I know you say that, you would be more willing to get behind him, and you've seen his progression. I've seen it as well, but I just can't. He just doesn't do it for me.
I am a Reigns fan, and I can get behind him, but there are certain matches where I can't, like against Rollins. The thing for me is I think Reigns only has a 5-set skill set.
Yeah.
And he finishes every single match that way. So you know what's coming.
Yeah.
You can call it before the match is even
Alright,
started.
so predictions for next week, for the match. The main match we have to talk about, obviously, is Reigns versus Kevin Owens. Do you think Reigns gets the win?
No.
I think a no as well.
Yeah.
Interference, or he just doesn't get it?
I could see possible interference by Triple H again.
Or Rusev.
Or maybe Rollins, because he wants a one-on-one shot at the title. But whatever way, Roman Reigns will not be going to Clash of the Champions to challenge for the Universal title.
I think I'd agree with you on that. It's not often we agree on results, so
Yeah.
there you go, that's a good one. Okay, so moving on to SmackDown, for me, the almost premiere show now.
Yeah.
And we get that great standoff between AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
Ambrose looks far more intense
Yeah.
than I've seen him look before, but I think he's sitting against a wrestler who is, for me, the best in the business today, AJ Styles. The new face that runs the place for a start.
He is the new face that runs the place. He beat John Cena at SummerSlam, and he's deserved this opportunity. And I expect him at Backlash to be the new World Heavyweight Champion.
So, in terms of him winning that, does that take away from Dean? Because Dean's title run, apart from his win, has been very unmemorable for me.
Yeah. I don't think it takes away from his run, because they're going to put on an amazing match. I know Dean does every time.
I
and
hope
AJ
they
does.
do. You say Dean does every time. And I don't know if it's a booking or what it is. I have not been impressed by Dean Ambrose lately. Since the Stone Cold podcast, actually, and that was an amazing podcast. If anyone gets a chance to listen to it, fantastic podcast. But he was lacking something.
Yeah, he lacked something. I think WWE have booked him wrong again. The creative team need to just take a break, take a month, and figure out what they're going to do with storylines. It's not his fault. He got given Dolph Ziggler for a month-long feud, and I don't think it worked.
It didn't work.
I think if you gave him Bray Wyatt, it would have been better.
I hope that Dolph Ziggler worked. I really rate Dolph. His feud at the moment with The Miz. Actually, it seems a good point to move on to. His feud at the moment with The Miz. The Miz has changed his character since he was on Smacktalk.
Yeah, where he went a little bit too close to home with Daniel Bryan.
And it's helped him.
Yeah, it has helped him.
It's pushed him. And you know what? For me now, after seeing that, I've been thoroughly entertained by him. And I think him having Maurice alongside him, having her do his dirty work is a great character progression for him.
Yeah, it is. I'd like him to retain at Backlash, because I don't want it to be again IC title, Dolph rings, Miz rings, Dolph rings, Miz rings, because then it just takes away prestige. Well, arguably Miz has brought back to it, so you need to keep it there.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would have liked to have seen Randy go for it, because the segment on Miz TV before SummerSlam.
Excellent.
Maybe he will after Bray.
I like to think Randy's moved on to Bray. I mean, Bray gave his promo this week. I'm following the buzzers, man.
Yeah.
And the lizards and the bunny. Once again, it made no sense to me.
No.
As
none
usual.
of his promos.
None of his promos. But that feud's going to be amazing. And I would like to see. I was actually thinking what would be hilarious would be Randy going into the ring and copying Bray, doing a Bray.
Yeah, it would be amazing. if he can pull out the crab walk, then that would just make Sunday night in itself.
Yeah.
But I think Bray comes out with the win on that one, because
I
I think Bray needs to win.
He does. Now, that would be 2 losses and 2 pay-per-views for Randy Orton, albeit one was TKO to Brock Lesnar, which isn't...
Let's face it, if you go up against Brock Lesnar, you're going to get knocked out.
Knocked out entirely. So we're going for a Bray win over Randy.
Yeah.
I would actually, as much as I want Bray to win, I'm going to go for a Randy win. I think WWE pulls it out and says, listen, Randy can have it, and they go on to have another match. Perhaps one of the big 4, and they can continue this feud. It's a great feud.
I'd like it to culminate in a number 1 contendership match.
Yeah. Or a Hell in a Cell between them would be hellacious.
Yeah, it would be.
It would be
more hellacious than Bray versus Roman last year at Hell in a Cell, and that was hellacious in itself, because Randy hears voices in his head. So and Bray is one
crazy guy.
Yeah.
So we've got the tag team title tournament and the women's title tournament that we need to talk about.
Yeah.
So very briefly, American Alpha won in 25 seconds to Hype Bros. I was disappointed for the Hype Bros.
Yeah.
I love Alpha, you know I do. I think that they are the best tag team that's been called up as a tag team in years. But the Hype Bros were good last week.
They did. Actually, I think it was the Usos that the American Alpha faced, and Hype Bros faced Slater and Rhino.
Sorry. Yeah, you're right, that way around. So, the Usos faced American Alpha, and they beat them in 2 or 3 seconds. When the Usos got taken out, they then came back into the ring and basically took out Alpha again.
Yes.
Is this the start of a heel turn for the Usos?
I think it is, because American Alpha, bar maybe Slater and Rhino, are the most over tag team at the moment on SmackDown. The Usos, I like them heel turns. When you shake their hand, say well done, then you turn on them. I liked how Jimmy was shaking Gable's hand, then Jay came in with the super kick, and it's pulled them from the competition at Backlash. So we see, do the Usos go through, or will there be a Hype Bros versus Usos match
a little bit later,
early on in the
to determine who goes
to the final,
because they made out that Gable's leg was injured. And they did the frog splash on the leg, and I don't know if that was a kayfabe injury, if that was a real injury. It'd be interesting to know. Then we go to the great segment that Heath Slater had, introducing his family. For me, the most entertaining guy on the roster at the moment.
Yeah, he is, and I think Rhino just goes in tandem.
He plays his part amazingly.
Last week's segment on SmackDown, when they were in the Slater hole and Slater was talking and he was just eating cheese whiz and ham and crackers.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And they work so well together, and they're just an odd couple who would never have put them together.
No.
But Heath Slater, once again, working with what he can, and doing fantastically. So then they had the match against the Hype Bros, and I stick to the point. Hype Bros looked really impressive last week. In this match, it took one spear by Rhino to take him out. Now, a spear by Rhino would take pretty much anybody.
Yeah, let's face it, it took Heath Slater out. I think the Hype Bros will come against the Usos at Backlash to determine who goes through to the final, and I'd see the Hype Bros winning that.
So Jordan and Gable don't go in the for you. They're out now.
For me, they're out. But then again, the Hype Bros are face, and do really want face v face, or do you want face v heel? That would make the Usos the safe option.
I mean, the Hype Bros are going to get booed again. Anyone's going to get booed against Slater and Rhino.
Yeah. I'd like to see the Hype Bros because it gives 2 new tag teams. It doesn't give the Usos another chance, because I think that Slater and Rhino will be WWE SmackDown Tag Team Champions come Sunday night.
And of course Slater will have a contract for the WWE, even though he's getting more airtime than practically anybody.
Yeah, he is.
So then we've got the women's division. There was a triple 3-on-3 tag match, which Carmella ended up getting pinned on.
Yeah, that surprised me, because WWE have been pushing her over the last month. Her feud with Nikki Bella, keep attacking Nikki Bella. They're all fantastic wrestlers, and
every one of them, I'm so impressed. I mean, Alexa Bliss has improved beyond all measure.
I could sit here, you could sit here for the next hour and talk about every one of them being a contender for Sunday.
Yeah.
Because they're such great wrestlers. That's what SmackDown has that Raw doesn't have.
Have the women division, right? So what for you is the predicted winner? Because mine has changed. Last week it was Becky. I thought you've got to let Becky walk out with her. For me, the winner this week at Backlash is Carmella. Carmella is the first women's champion. She's a brand new wrestler. You push her to the hills.
Yeah.
Her submission is fantastic. Becky and Natalya are going to go at it. So for me, it's Carmella for a win.
I'm going to stick to my gun and I'm going to say the new WWE SmackDown Women's Champion is Becky Lynch. And pinning Carmella, leading to a feud between Becky and Carmella.
Okay, so that means, when will Nikki go out?
Nikki, I would say the top 3 wrestlers would be Becky, Nikki and Carmella.
By the way, her top rope in Seguri was unbelievable. You know, we've been saying she's been training with Brian, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
An amazing move, and it just shows that the women's division is so strong at the moment.
Yeah. It is, and I think it really came through the Divas Revolution that Stephanie set up last summer.
Absolutely.
So kudos to her.
Absolutely. So for you, we've gone through Bray Randy, we've gone through the women's title division, we've gone through the tag division. Both of us agree that it's going to be Rhino and Slater.
Yeah.
The world title. Let's just talk about that. AJ. Dean Ambrose, what is your prediction for the match on a whole? Do you think it's going to be a great match?
I think it has the potential to be a 5-star match, because if you bring out the lunatic side of Dean Ambrose, then any match he'll be in is a 5-star match. And AJ will just pull out moveset after moveset after moveset. Him and John Cena, I could have watched that match for
100 times.
Yeah, 100 times over, and still had goosebumps at the end of it. I think it will be a 4-5-star match. I think it will be outshone by probably Slater and Rhino just because of the pop. But I'm going to go bold here. I like my man Dean, but I'm going to go with the WWE SmackDown World title. It's going in on the hands of the AJ Styles.
Well, I think they're really pushing AJ at the moment. But for me, I think should SmackDown want to have a really strong world title picture, I don't think it'll be the worst thing to have AJ lose here, even if it's by disqualification.
Mm-hmm.
Have him lose here, you know, in the next pay-per-view, have him win, or in an episode of SmackDown. When's the last time a world title's change taken place and changed hands on SmackDown?
Yeah.
And that would be a huge thing for SmackDown in terms of ratings.
Yeah.
I'll go bold. I'm going to go Dean Ambrose. I don't want it to happen. For me, AJ, as I've said, I would much rather win. But Dean.
I'm going to make a few predictions. AJ Styles wins. Somewhere along the line, rekindles his feud with John Cena, because for the title that will add more hype to it.
Oh, it would be huge to John Cena and AJ Styles for the title.
Let's face it, that is probably one of the only feuds in WWE at the moment that WWE can keep on going with, and it will never get boring.
They could go on with that feud for a really long time, and the fans are always going to be behind it, because they're both the most popular wrestlers, the best wrestlers. And whatever you say about John Cena, he is still the face of Ron's place.
Yeah, he is.
No wrestler gets a pop like him. And I'm not the biggest fan of John Cena, but I have been such a fan of his matches. As of late, he puts on practically 5-star matches every time. It's unbelievable.
And there's no better way to show that than to beat AJ Styles for the World Heavyweight Championship on his return at possibly TLC.
So there's been a lot of talk about Goldberg recently and how quick he would squash wrestlers, right?
Yeah.
The one thing I want to say about Cena before we wrap this up is Cena doesn't squash. He can have an hour match. He can have a half an hour match. He can do an Iron Man. He can do a quick match. He can do a squash. He can do it. And that, for me, is a sign of a true professional.
It is. I think a couple of years ago you would have said that Cena would bury any local talent. Look at NXT. Nexus, sorry, not NXT. They were basically NXT at the time. But year on year, like I said, you peak when you hit 36, 37, 38. So he's having his best matches now. And I don't agree with people when they say he buried Rusev, he buried Owens, or he buried Zayn. he ignited their careers.
Correct. And they're the ones who are still in WWE.
And I will say a bold prediction that Kevin Owens would not be Universal Champion now if Cena didn't put him over in 3 huge matches at the start of last year.
And the start of his career. So we've got to wrap it up. It's half an hour now.
Yeah.
So we are the Smacktalking Amigos. You can find us at Smacktalking Amigos on Twitter. You can find us on YouTube with our channel Smacktalking Amigos. We will have a Facebook channel. We hope you've enjoyed our first episode, one of hopefully 52
a year.
And we'll
be back next week, guys. Have
Thanks,
a good day.
Guys. Have a good day.